And we are live. Give it a minute for the people to start showing up.
Yeah.
I'd say about 10 seconds before we start going to the topic. All right, I think that's enough time. Gonna go into the introductions now. So thank you all for showing up today. We will be discussing the events going on in Australia right now and some other topics. But first, let me introduce my guest. I am joined by Entepp. How are you doing?
Hello.
And our favorite Ohioan, Buckeye.
Hi.
Oh, and he left. He left.
Oh.
Interesting.
American
Uh-oh.
Predictions just left. Or American Populist. My
All right,
bad. It's not AP.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
All right, let's get back into that.
Did my awkward hi scare you away?
No, I actually clicked the wrong button. But let's get into the topic for today without any further boomer issues. Don't want to become Buckeye this time. So let's discuss Australia, the land down under. Or as we should call it, the police state.
Oh.
So if you don't know, Australia has had the most draconian lockdowns out of any country, probably in the entire world. Worse than even the worst blue state that we could probably imagine. You can't go out.
Michigan.
Yeah, but it's even worse in Australia.
Wow.
To give you a pretext of
New
how
Zealand
bad,
also had pretty bad.
yeah, it's also bad there as well. Australia does suck politically, red Texan. But let's discuss how bad Australia's draconian lockdowns are. The Sydney Morning Herald: rescue dogs are to be shot by NSW Council due to COVID-19 restrictions by Rural Council under interpretation of lockdown measures. So they are shooting dogs because people might rescue them or turn them in, and that might get somebody COVID. Just to give you an idea of how the insanity.
Insane.
Yeah, the police are also running over anybody who protests.
Is there anything happening there like what they were doing with the nursing homes in like New York and Michigan?
I don't know if anything about the nursing homes. I just know that draconian lockdowns are the worst, probably out of any country. About the same as New Zealand. Like, you can't go outside. You can't ask.
That sounds pretty bad.
If you do, they'll arrest you.
They shot a little girl with pepper spray.
Oh yeah. They're also shooting people who protest the draconian lockdowns with rubber bullets.
Wow.
And police are beating them in the streets as well.
I wonder what race they are.
Well, that's always a good question to ask.
Australia is like 99% white, isn't it? Like, except for the Aboriginals.
No, I think it has a large Asian population. Let me check,
right.
though. So I'm looking up right now to check, though. Demographics. So it looks like it's 67% British ethnic groups, and Aborigines make up 3% of the population, and all others make up around 5.3%, it looks like. Yeah, Australia does have a lot of Chinese people.
Interesting.
Does it makes you kind of think about why there's a bunch of Chinese people moving to Australia?
Yeah.
So, what are your guys' thoughts about the draconian lockdowns going on in the land down under?
It sounds.
Entep, do you want to go
pretty
first, or do you
bad.
want me to?
Yeah, I'll go first. It sounds pretty bad. It sounds worse than what happened in Michigan during the beginning of the pandemic.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily just the lockdowns that are bad. I mean, that's obviously bad that they're so locked down, but I think it's just the response too is way worse than any lockdown. The fact that people are getting beaten in the streets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're also. Did I forget to mention, if you do not get the jab, they will hunt you down and make you get it. I believe
Yeah,
is also going on.
awful.
And I can't say that word on YouTube, but you all know what I mean. But anyway, getting out of the depression of talking about the land down under, let's go into our next topic. That's more, I guess, more U.S. centric. Let's talk about the refugees arriving from Afghanistan.
They're going to Wisconsin and Texas.
Yes, Afghan refugees arrive in Texas for processing.
Yeah, I wonder why they chose Texas.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's quite a mystery.
It really
Of all
is.
the
And
50 states.
yeah, it just has to be Wisconsin, Florida, Michigan, Nevada. Those are the only states that refugees can go to. I mean, guys, it makes logical sense. It makes logical sense.
Of course, of course.
I mean, if you question that, you're probably a racist.
Yeah. That's what they want you to think. What do you you think they should be like allowed to choose what state they go to?
I think we should send them back. There's no reason. They don't have a right to be here.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. Like unless they're like translators who work for the U.S. or something.
Who gave
Unless we have-
Afghanis the right to come over here?
Yeah, unless we have like 100%. Unless we have like 100% documented proof that they were on the field helping U.S. troops, I don't think they should be here. But if we have 100% documented proof, then I mean, yeah, they should be able to come. But should they be citizens or should they be like seeking asylum? That's a different story. But
yeah, they should be. They should not be given citizenship. In my opinion.
But I think we should grant them asylum.
Yeah.
Maybe temporarily, I could agree with that, but we definitely should not be giving them citizenship. That will definitely benefit one party. And
I
just
don't know,
to
do
give
we
you
have any like information on like how the Afghan refugees are voting? I'm just curious. I don't know.
I know
if there's enough
35% of
info on that.
Muslims voted for Trump.
I believe it is 35% that do vote for Trump and Republicans, but the vast majority
Really,
are
that high?
progressive.
Yeah.
I believe
that's
according to
way
the
high.
latest statistics.
That's true. They're either like the conservative Muslims or
And just also discussing the Afghan refugee crisis. Biden State Department is issuing visas to Afghans. All they have to do is just write their name in the email they sent them, and then just come over here.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no way to vet people from Afghanistan. That's impossible. There's zero paperwork or anything over there to vet anybody. I mean, there's no way to tell if they're a terrorist or not. If they're from that prison that was broken back from the Taliban retook it. I believe it was by Bagram Air Base, I'm pretty sure. and it was this massive prison that housed all political prisoners we had in Afghanistan. And since because the Biden administration is so incompetent and can't do anything right, literally anything, almost, we just abandoned it and let them all fall back to the Taliban. Along with the billions of dollars of military equipment that we gave to the Taliban. What are your thoughts, though, about the Taliban and the military equipment?
Yeah, the way they just.
I
they
think
came
that
out like-
we're gonna regret it pretty soon.
Definitely, I would say the 5,000 or so Americans under siege in Kabul airport are definitely going to be regretting it because the administration is more concerned about the refugees than the Americans who have to pay to use the airports, our airplanes, to fly them out. But the Afghan refugees can just come without pay. I think that's really fair, don't you guys?
Very fair.
I mean, it just goes to show you the priorities of this administration who botched the withdrawal from Afghanistan. But they also, I don't think many people heard about this, Biden got rid of Trump's plan to withdraw all Americans months before the military withdrawal from Afghanistan. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, I think so.
I did not know that, but that's BS.
Yeah, months before it would have counted, he got rid of Trump's plan to withdraw all U.S. I believe it was citizens from Afghanistan first before the military, and now we're in this mess where they're all trapped in Kabul airport. But let's get into U.S. politics for a second after discussing foreign interests. Entepp, how do you think this Afghanistan situation and the refugee crisis that is now obviously coming to America going to impact the midterms?
Well, I already think they're going to get 54 seats. The Republican Party. And I actually haven't changed my prediction for the midterms after this because I haven't really seen anything to change.
And what do you think, Buckeye?
Well, I was a little more pessimistic about the Republicans' chances in 2022. I was very confident they take back the House and definitely the Senate and the House. I just didn't think it would be by huge margins, but the way this is going, I would not be surprised if we get 54 seats. At first, I had the Republicans at 51, 52, but now I'm saying 54 is probably the most likely, if not even more in some cases, possibly, just because of how bad it's going.
And I actually think that Republicans are more likely to get 54 seats than Democrats are to hold the Senate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. We are definitely taking the House back 100%. So, what are your thoughts about this? The California recall results as of right now.
It's going to be really close. I haven't
It is.
been one.
I'm a lot more hopeful. Really? I have it. I still have it narrowly no. I have it no like plus 1.5, but
Yeah, I have no plus 0.6. So our predictions are pretty close.
Yeah, that's what I would expect for Newsom to hold on by the skin of his teeth. But this is also good news for our side as it forces them to use more of their money and resources on these otherwise like safe seats like California and Virginia, which helps us in the more competitive seats like Michigan, Wisconsin, Texas, Nevada, Arizona. These races really do help us getting the enemy to waste their resources in showing up these like otherwise like safe seats. What are your thoughts about that?
It's a victory, especially because they have so much of it.
And the left has become the party of the mega donors and the billionaires in recent years.
Definitely, they are the party of the elites.
Yeah, they never had Michael Bloomberg, but they have him now. Because he used to be a Republican.
Yeah, air quotes Republican. But I mean, you have to be in air quotes Republican to even have a chance in New York City.
Do you think Sliwa has a chance?
Personally, I don't, just because of how corrupt New York is. I mean, we saw the delay in the ballots. I mean, in the primary, this banana.
The primary was just awful.
They can't even get a primary to work in a day. It takes like a week with the ballots that keep coming in mysteriously.
Yeah.
But let's discuss Virginia for a second, pausing away from the cringe state of California. And going back to a state that used to be fairly Republican, but is now very cringe because of Nova. Do you guys think Glenn Youngkin has a chance?
Yes.
Yeah, I think right now, I think I have McAuliffe. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not smart, but I think I have him winning very narrowly, but that definitely could change. I think right now it's probably 50-50, especially with what's going on in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that would help him max out the rule. I think the rules in Virginia are maxed out, though. It's just the Nova that really moves the state to the left. And also Virginia Beach. The shift there has hurt Republicans really bad as well. What other topics did you want to discuss, Intepp? I know you wanted to discuss the climate and other politics.
Oh yeah. How do you guys feel about climate?
Climate is an interesting topic on the right, and the way we discuss it. Because climate change has been poised as this issue by the far left progressives as this issue that we must push upon everybody, and it's the end of the world. If you don't believe in climate change, you are a disease upon the earth, and we must eat bugs. I mean, it's just so obvious. But I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that progressive take on climate. I would agree that the climate has changed, and the climate has been, as we've been able to record the temperature in the climate, it has changed in the past 100 years or so in weather patterns, but I would think some of those are natural, and it's probably overstated the impact. But the one thing I could agree with the climate change narrative is that we should be against pollution and conservation, but in a sane way.
Yeah. I think we should try to figure out I don't know. Should figure out when is appropriate time to stop with the pollution. I don't know.
I mean, conservatives have always been the party of conservation because we created the national parks.
Oh.
That was Theodore Roosevelt, I believe, created the national parks.
And Nixon made the EPA.
Yeah, it was Republicans who were always the conservationists, not the liberals who live in these giant urban areas that are the most polluted and produce the most CO2 that they constantly screech about. They're also for the endless flow of immigration. That's a great segue to our next topic. Let's discuss immigration. As we all know, the Democratic Party, and I believe Senator Dick Durbin, recently boasted about how the changing demographics of America are great news for the Democratic Party and bad news for the Republican Party, whose base is being, as we shall say, replaced by a new base who are far more likely 2-1 to vote for the Democratic Party.
Yeah. And they'll call you a conspiracy theorist or a racist for saying that a lot.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Buckeye?
I think that I agree with you guys because if you look at immigration, it's pretty obvious they're intense when they bring people over from Afghanistan and across the southern border. And yeah, I just agree with you guys.
Do you think we should cut down on legal immigration?
I would say yes. I think the only difference between legal and illegal immigration is one you jump over a fence and one you walk through the door. I think
Well,
that there's definitely some like go ahead.
a lot of most illegal immigration is people who overstay their visas.
Yeah, that's true. That's why we should limit legal immigration as well. And the people we do let in, we need to have more like information on them, I guess, because we need to know where you came from, like who you are. Like we have no idea who all these people coming across the border are. They could be they have no paperwork, no nothing on them. So I feel like if you have a way to prove who you are and like all that stuff and a way to track you. I don't want to say track you because that sounds like 1984, but a way to get in contact with you and a way to just know who you are, then I guess I wouldn't have an issue with that. People like that immigrating, but if we were just opening the border and letting people who we have no idea who they are enter the country, I think that's a pretty big issue.
I think Republicans need to be uniformly against immigration of all kinds because it's just been fairly obvious that it's massively against us and hurts us politically, culturally, and has been since 1965 when the 1965 Hart-Celler Immigration Act was signed.
You know, a lot of our cities are becoming mini Indias and mini Mexicos. There's really nothing special about our culture anymore.
Yeah, we don't have a culture. We just have a materialist, neoliberal culture of nothing and exporting neoliberals via military with Black Lives Matter and the Pride flag. But I mean, the immigration pill should have been solved for Republicans, and when California, which used to be really red, switched from being a reliably red state to a solid blue state because of demographic change and also the colleges too. That also played a major role in California. And it's the reason why Dallas went from a reliably red county to a solid blue county because of demographics. And you can just see this pattern everywhere in the United States, from counties that used to be heavily Republican, but are now solid Democrat. And they all have one common denominator, immigration, and also the college system. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely a partisan issue.
No, I agree with you. I think that, yeah, I think that I remember when the Democrats used to be anti-immigration. Like, I think Obama had a State of the Union address where he was completely like his first State of the Union address. I think at one point I saw it on YouTube. He talked about how we have to limit immigration of all kinds, and now he's out there campaigning for amnesty. And I think it just shows how far left the Democrats in our society have gone in the past 12 years.
Yeah, you have to have a culture and a people. You can't just have this nothing that unites people, just consumerist bugman culture that we have right now. I think that's a fair way of describing what we are now,
Yeah.
especially in these dystopian cities. It feels like more and more. Let's segue into another interesting topic. As I saw on Twitter, some people discuss on our circles. You think Biden is going to actually be removed and Kamala Harris is going to take over for him halfway through his term to help in the midterms in 2024?
I hope it doesn't happen because then we'd have a woman president.
I don't know why people want to impeach Biden. Like, we're going to have Pelosi and Harris, I believe, then, as our president and vice president. I'd so much prefer Biden.
I mean, he's not really the president, but he's just a.
I mean, you're not wrong, but yeah, he's a figurehead.
Yeah, he has his puppets that tell him what to do. I mean, it feels like
they only used him to win the election.
Yeah, he was just a veneer as a moderate, so they could get the old Obama administration back into the White House, which is what his administration is. It's just mostly Obama admins who are running the show and telling him what to say and do.
Yeah.
Good old Grandpa Joe. He can't tell if he's in Delaware or Virginia most of the time.
Yeah.
Do you think he's more incoherent now, or do you think he's just as he was during the 2020 election?
I'd say probably just as much. Maybe a little worse, but
We're not really seeing him as much anymore.
I don't know. We never hear him or see from him, so yeah.
Yeah. Every time I try to ask him a question, he's whisked away by his controllers, as I think we should call them. Nope, can't say any questions. Nothing to see here. Just wheeling him back in, so we can let Kamala, who's actually in charge, do the work. I like Kamala's actually in charge, but she's probably just another figurehead for the people who actually run the administration.
I don't think Kamala's smart enough to be in charge.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a very intelligent person. I mean, the only reason why she got into political office in California is just because, some higher ups. She pleased some higher ups in California the way we all know how a woman does. And I'm just going to leave it right there so you guys are not scarred for life.
And she barely won, too. Her attorney general race, she won by like half a point or something.
Yeah, I saw that. What year was that in?
I think it was 2010.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you how much of a popular candidate Kamala Harris is and would be in 2024 against Trump or DeSantis. Incept, your thing is like ringing.
Yeah, you're getting a call or something.
Sure, what?
I'm just gonna until you fix that real quick. You fix that? That's still going on. I'll let him fix that real quick and I'll unmute him.
Yeah.
Just gonna use some censorship powers, real quick.
American populace becomes the Chinese government.
Or Australia right now.
Yeah, I mean either or.
It's pretty much the same thing. Oh, he says his dad's mowing the lawn right now. Okay. All right, it's gone now. It sounds like you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear it right now.
Base dad's mowing the lawn. We've all been there. If you don't mow your lawn, you're probably gay, honestly.
I mow my lawn.
Epic.
Yeah, I see all these losers on Twitter telling me that mowing lawn is for weak people. No, you're probably just gay. And you probably also hire a Mexican to do it because you're just so weak.
I don't know. I like mowing my lawn. I mean, I don't have a big yard, but it takes me like a half hour.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is what makes you right-wingers if you mow the lawn. I mean, we're getting into the real stuff here.
Yeah, for sure.
You won't hear this on the mainstream. Kind of funny talking about base lawns. What else did you want to discuss, Intepp? I know you had some other topics.
How do you feel about guns?
That's my most libertarian position. The reason I used to think I was libertarian was because I was so libertarian on gun issues. I'll put it that way.
Well,
can you kind of expand on what you mean by that?
Sure. So really, other than background checks, I think there should be no restrictions for gun ownership. Like, I think we obviously you can't just like have guns for sale at every store and every street corner, but at the same time, it's also I don't know how to put it, but like as long as you're like, I mean, if you look at it, like rural areas have owned guns for like as long as you can imagine, and you do ever hear like the most guns per capita are in states like Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, states like that. And when was the last time you heard of a mass shooting in Alaska or a mass shooting in Wyoming or Montana or anywhere like that? They're all in like white suburban cities because everyone who gets a gun and does bad things with it is just an edgy kid who lives in a suburb or an inner city. Like the people who actually know how to use guns and use them the most and need them, they're not the ones that are causing the issue, and banning guns would just hurt them.
And it's like a huge majority of the gun violence is by illegal gun owners.
Yeah.
It's also by majority gang crime in the major urban areas. That's where most of the so-called gun violence takes place. It takes place in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, LA, and that's pretty much 90% of the gun crime right there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's no coincidence that these gun-free zones have the worst gun crime ever. Chicago has some of the most strict gun laws in the country, and yet it's one of the most dangerous cities with gun violence.
Very
But
interesting.
as for my position on guns, I'm fairly pro-gun. I think we should be allowed to own machine guns. I think the NFA is unconstitutional. It's also why Reagan is very cringe.
Yeah,
He
overrated.
banned us from
Reagan was
was
pretty anti-gun.
Yeah, he was. He pushed no-fault divorce. He gave amnesty, which turned California blue, handed California over permanently to the Democratic Party, and he didn't want a border wall. When this country was a lot more sane and rational, and we could have gotten it done. Yeah, I can't stand the cringe Ronald
Reagan had been
worship.
more like Trump. I used to be one of those people, but now I'm not. I still think he was a decent president, but he's not like incredible.
Yeah, he's like C tier.
Yeah, you have to understand the era he was coming from. He was coming from the 80s, this era of nostalgia where the economy was kind of okay, I guess. Things were still normal. We still had the Soviet Union uniting us. Immigration wasn't that big of an issue. We didn't have like pride parades everywhere. All this other social issue crap all the time. So it was fairly easy for him to just be like a standard Republican for the time, and it seemed like he was really based all the conservatives because he defeated the Soviet Union, even though the Soviet Union was going to collapse anyway. And that's the only major conservative victory that we've had in the last 100 years, probably.
He created 16 million jobs too.
What industry was that in?
I think it was all of it.
Just like
Oh, he did.
I think
Okay,
it was like
cool.
overall.
Okay, maybe Reagan did one base thing, but he still did fairly cringe things. He got no fault divorce, banned machine guns, very cringe, and basically gave away California.
Yeah.
And that's an example of why we can't be nonpartisan, because he was a very nonpartisan Republican who tried to get things done and understand the other side, even though the other side never did anything he wanted.
Yeah, that's very similar to how it is now in Congress. There's almost no moderates on the left, but there's several on the right.
Yeah, weird how all these moderates are on our side, and who are also like Adam Kumzinger and Peter Meyer, to name a few of the great Republicans in our caucus. In air quotes. I mean, I kind of want to turn the stream into an Adam Kumzinger bashing session, but he's up there with Dan Crenshaw on the levels of cringe.
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw, that guy.
he was kind of based when he ran, but
He's even pro-gun. He can't even get the basics right.
Wow. In Texas?
Yeah, he was for red flag laws.
Wow.
I think he was also for mass immigration too, and amnesty.
That's not too surprising.
Yeah, that just goes to show you what your fellow conservatives, the moderate right, is made up of. That's who the moderate right is. It's just people who are against us and who are neocons. Yeah. And where do the neocons come from? We need to remember where they come from. The Soviet Union. They go all the way back to Leon Trotsky. And they won't tell you that in history class. Because that's where neoconservatives came from. It came from Leon Trotsky.
Very interesting. How do you feel about policing?
Man, I was very pro-police just a year ago. I was actually very pro-police, back to blue no matter who type stuff. But after January 6th and just seeing the police enforce these mask mandates and arresting people, because they arrested people in early 2019 for, who didn't follow these mask mandates in like Idaho and these other states. And it's just like, you guys are just going to enforce laws from the Democratic Party. Like, why should we support you when you don't have our side? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Same. A year ago, I was very pro-police. Like I had no issues with them. I completely supported them, and I still kind of hold that position. But yeah, I think definitely with all the mandates in January 6th, that sort of tainted my opinion on them. I do actually support some demilitarization of the police. I don't think we should completely scale back like all their weaponry and guns, but I do think that the police forces have a little more power than they should. So I wouldn't be opposed to like some demilitarization, but I think that we should never defund them, and we should just be a little less, completely pro police, because I feel like if push came to shove, they might backstab us.
Yeah, I would agree
Do you
with
think
that.
Do you think they have a racial bias?
No.
I just think they
No.
follow orders, and that's all they do, and they
Yeah.
don't support us, even though we back them, and the other side doesn't and hates them, but they still enforce their orders.
Good soldiers follow orders, but yeah, no, I don't think police have a bias. I just think that they make more arrests in minority neighborhoods, so it's just statistically more likely that they'll have an interaction with someone who's not white, and statistically speaking, have a more likely chance of killing them. Or I shouldn't say killing them, I should say. I don't know what the proper word is, but that's my take on the police.
Well, I would say a better term for that would be an encounter where somebody puts up resistance and tries
Yeah,
to harm
Somebody
the
was
police's
resisting
rights, and they're
arrest.
forced to use lethal force,
yeah. Okay,
which is
yeah, that's
extremely
fair.
rare.
Yeah,
Twice as many white people are killed by the police than black people.
exactly.
Even though blacks commit over half of the crimes,
Yeah.
statistically. And I'm not saying black people
That's a
commit
hate
all the
fact.
crime, but it's just facts. Sorry, it's just
It's a hate fact.
yeah, they don't like it when you tell the facts. Let's discuss cringe South Carolina being South Carolina. Real quick, though, I wanted to discuss the story that came out of South Carolina. Governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, says Afghan refugees can come to settle in South Carolina as they support our military and are welcome anytime, as a bunch of 20 other Republican governors.
Brian Kemp too.
Oh, yeah, Governor of Utah, Greg Abbott.
I'm assuming DeWine.
Oh, yeah, all of them. All the standard people on the list who usually back the cringe stuff. But I just don't understand why South Carolina has the worst politicians.
Lindsey Graham. Oh,
Tim Scott. In
I think
such a
Lindsey
red
Graham.
state.
I know the people are
Not even
based.
trending
The
blue.
politicians are.
Sorry, what'd you say, Intepp?
It's not even trending blue.
Yeah, it's insanely red state. We're not going to be the LTE bots here. Oh, South Carolina trended left by 1 point, so it's going to go Democrat. All the LTE bots can go over back to his channel and go suck a stick or whatever. Which is what you guys do anyway.
Did LTE get banned from Twitter or something?
No, he just posts cringe TikToks of him and nails.
No, I know, but like AP posted something about like how he got banned from Twitter, and it got like.
No, he's still on Twitter.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
he's
say.
still on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I know he's still on Twitter. I just AP posted something like it just showed LTE's profile and it just said this account has been suspended, and it got like 3,000 views and likes and stuff. And I didn't know like what happened.
You know that a tweet that Red Eagle quote tweeted me?
Yeah,
Yeah, that has 56,000 views.
that's pretty based.
Nice, I saw you got in one of his videos too.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, these Republican governors who are just, we need to take Afghan refugees because they helped our military. You guys just don't understand. You're so behind the times. You're like helping the left by giving away Texas, helping speed along the Texas turning blue. Greg Abbott, oh, they're conservative. They come from rural areas in Afghanistan, so they're going to vote Republican, even though they're going to vote 2-1 Democrat. I mean, geez, you might as well just give away Texas to the Democratic Party. Jeez, these Republican governors just don't get it. They really don't get it.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't understand fortification. And I made a recent video about fortification. And I mean that in a different term than what we happened in 2020. I mean that in a term of how we need to fortify our states from turning blue. And how we do that, because it's very easy how you keep a state red. You don't allow refugees to come settle in and take the jobs of your residents who worked hard for them and got college degrees for that. And you also don't allow child trans-sex hormones, and you get rid of the leftist indoctrination in the school system. And you're pro-family. I mean, the stuff is very simple. But your average Republican governor doesn't understand that. Your average Republican governor understands socialism sucks. That's what your average Republican governor does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could tell us understate that, Buckeye, because you have one of the worst you had one of the worst governors.
Yeah. Oh my God. I hate DeWine so bad. I just want him gone. I want Joe Blystone. I'd hope to God Joe Blystone wins, because DeWine just, I can't think of one good thing he's done, honestly. He only got elected because he got famous for some like shooting in Southern Ohio that he investigated with the cartels, and then he ran for governor and he won. But he's just part of the swamp.
Yeah, then he basically became the male version of Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah. He was honestly DeWine's lockdowns were kind of blown out of proportion by the right. They were bad, don't get me wrong, but like they weren't nearly as bad as Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, as I'm sure Entepp would probably say. But the fact that he was a Republican is what makes it bad. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, what's it like in the land of Michigan right now?
Well, there's no mask mandate right now, but there probably will be one soon.
There is, but you know what? The gay clubs can remain open while your churches remain closed, because Gretchen Whitmer said so.
Yeah, well,
that was an
Michigan's
actual
mostly
story.
back to normal for now.
That was a story, though, during the lockdowns. I remember that.
Yeah, we had to do a church through a live video.
Same. That's how we had to do it.
Yeah, it just shows how pathetic we are as a people at this point.
Yeah.
That we let a woman tell us what to do. I mean, this is going to be a hot take, but there shouldn't be women in politics.
That's a very hot take.
It is, because people on the right are so... they're for this equality narrative. Women are not rational, and they should not be in politics, because there has not been one single good woman politician on the left or right.
What about Thatcher?
Thatcher was cringe. She let in immigrants, and what else did she do that was very cringe? Oh, she sent jobs away to China too. So
What
her and
about
Bill,
AOC?
Tulsi?
yeah, they're all cringe though. I mean, they have some base takes, but they're still women, and they're emotional, and they don't think logically like men do.
Yeah.
I think Tulsi
Pretty
Gabbard
big.
is the one woman I would consider voting for on the left or the right.
Yeah, I mean, the female politicians on our side are Governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, and what's her name in Alabama, who's also cringe now?
Kay
Kay
Ivey.
Kate Ivey, yeah. Yeah, those are the type of women we have on the right. Both those are very cringe politicians.
All right,
And
American
like safe
populist.
for instead.
In 2024, there's a female Republican against a male Democrat. Who do you vote for?
Well, you have to vote for the Republican because the Democrats are just so evil. But you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I wouldn't vote for a woman, but you just have to because the Democratic Party is for pedophilia. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not far
Would
off
you
from
ever-
just saying we're for pedophilia.
Would you ever vote Constitution or like third or libertarian or third party in any situation? Like,
Libertarian, no. Libertarians are cringe and gay.
Yeah.
And maybe Constitutional Party if the Republican Party can never win again for some reason.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that.
Because at this rate, the Republican Party is just controlled opposition. At least the establishment is controlled opposition. But we do have some base people on the right. Let's get into some white pills, though, from that black pill a little bit. We have, like, Joe Kent, Paul Gosar, Mo Brooks. We do have some good people on our side, you know, but you just have the Mitches and the Kevin McCarthys who are just so cringe and give in to the left every single possible turn.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell needs to go. He needs to be removed, and so does Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, and if Trump didn't endorse him, he probably would have lost his primary.
Yeah, I mean, he's insanely unpopular in Kentucky, but they're not going to vote for a Democrat, so he just wins. And 2018 was like a special example because Matt Bevin was just a terrible governor.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you see in the rising stars of the Republican Party?
I think that we are the rising stars in the Republican Party, honestly, because I mean, who else really is there, honestly? Like, name
Yeah,
one
it is.
based person in the GOP besides maybe Trump or DeSantis.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone else is on the establishment or a neocon.
I mean, there's a few people that I like put Republicans into like 3 categories. You got like Trump, DeSantis, maybe 1 or 2 people who's like the actual good candidates. Then you got a bunch of people that I'll vote for, but I don't really like, but I'll still vote for them just because they're better than the opposition. And then you've got Republicans that I despise, and even depending on the opposition, I might not vote for them.
Yeah, I mean, if Dan Crenshaw ran for president, I would vote for a Democrat, just because I hate Dan Crenshaw that much.
I'd probably vote Libertarian or Constitution.
Yeah, that'd probably be a better option in that case, but I hate Dan Crenshaw with a passion and all the other neocons. But let's discuss the state of the military. That's an interesting topic. Because how just gay the military is.
I'm still waiting for John Doyle's video on why you should join the military or not, because that is going to have a huge impact on what I do in high school and what I do as an adult. I want to hear his takes.
Yeah, I would definitely like to hear him. The White Boy Summer video was really good, though.
That was a good video.
But I mean, just the state of the military. Let's just discuss Mark Milley. I mean, this guy is just a communist, pretty much.
We need to completely drain the swamp of our military establishment. Like, honestly, we should just like fire everyone in the Pentagon, especially after what just happened, and replace them with I don't even know who we could replace them with. Just people who like actually have brain cells.
I mean, I wish you could do that, but the swamp runs really deep, as we saw in 2020.
Yeah.
And the military is too busy discussing how we had to have gender equality and feminism in Afghanistan than protecting our borders. I mean, think about the women in Afghanistan, guys. I mean, feminism and equality.
I think I don't want to. I don't know this for a fact, but I would think that just because of circumstances, I bet a lot of women in Afghanistan probably like the Taliban, or at least aren't as opposed to it as Western media makes them out to be. Not saying
Yeah,
they
I
all
mean,
do. I'm just saying that there's probably a sizable amount.
women will naturally follow the male when they're not just like brainwashed by our feminist, globalist, big gay system, which is what we live under right now, which is why everything is so shit.
Everything woke turns to shit. Donald Trump, 2021.
Yeah. 2020, the year of mail-in ballots.
Did you watch,
I mean, I think
by any chance, Trump's speech last night in Alabama?
no, I didn't get a chance to check it out. Did you see anything interesting?
Well, not really. I only watched like the first half of it, but what I did enjoy was his rhetoric. It reminded me more of a 2016 Trump than 2020 Trump. I'm not, which gives me a lot of hope that he could change course, but because I don't know, just the way he talked and the way I know he's never really sounded like a politician, but the way he talked yesterday and like did all that stuff, he really sounded like he was anti-establishment. He almost sounded like 2016 Trump again, which I hope we get that, but we'll have to see.
Oh, that's good to hear. Mo Brooks is a good candidate.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
like
nice
Mo
change from the Tim Scott endorsement and all these other cringe people. Because Trump has not had a great endorsement game.
No.
He's endorsed some pretty terrible people, like Mike Pompeo and Pence. And we all saw what these people turned out to be, traitors. But the problem with Trump is that the problem with Trump is that he only puts people he trusts.
Yeah.
And not the people who have the interest of his agenda at heart. And that's the biggest problem with Trump, and that's why he had such a bad administration with all of these people like Mary Kissel and a bunch of other cringe people like that. And people forget that Mike Pompeo hired Mary Kissel, who said she hated Trump like 50,000 times on Twitter. But I'm one of those autistic people who remembers that story from 2017. The days when Trump was on Twitter. What do you think, Buckeye? If he runs for 2024, do you think that
What do you think of
they're gonna have to put him back on Twitter? Give him his account
Trump?
back. Yeah.
I don't know who else you'd be talking about. Sorry, I zoned out for a second. I mean, they probably won't, to be honest, but I don't know how they wouldn't. The amount of pushback they would get from, honestly, both the left and the right, because even Bernie said it was scary that big tech could do that, I think would really come back to bite them.
I mean, I don't know. Big
Like
tech
Entepp's
is
back.
just so. Oh yeah, Entepp's back. Big tech is just so globalist, and like I remember back in 2016, Google had this like meeting that got leaked where they said we have to prevent 2016 from happening ever again at all costs. So that means we have to censor stories that criticize Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that story?
Yeah, the New York Post.
Yeah.
No, the one where the leaked meeting with Google after the 2016 election, where they said we have to prevent that from ever happening again.
Oh no.
But I mean, we all know big tech is just against us. It's fairly obvious to us on the right. But I mean, let's discuss for our final topic. Let's discuss Ron versus Trump for 2024. The big debate on the right.
That's an interesting one.
Who's better to win?
To win,
Incept,
or
you go
who's the
first.
better?
Who would be the better candidate? Incept, you go first.
To sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but like the better candidate, or like the better, who would be more electable, or who like best represents my interests?
Probably better electable.
Okay.
It's kind of weird between Trump and DeSantis for more electable, because this would be Trump's third time at the national scene, so he would know what has worked for him in elections and what hasn't worked for him in elections. So that would definitely be an advantage of Trump. But DeSantis does have some moderate appeal, which means he could get some support in like Philly suburbs and the sort of the Wow area in Wisconsin, and that would help a lot. Metro Atlanta, that would help. Arizona, Nevada, several states, but Trump could definitely win those states either way. And I think that I think it's about neutral for electability.
All right, what do you think, Buckeye?
I do think DeSantis is more electable. 3,000 votes across 3 states in 2020. So the fact is, and that was with horrible circumstances. So when you have people like LTE and people on just the media saying Trump has no chance in 2024, I don't buy that at all. I think that I think no matter who we nominate in 2024, as long as they're populist, I think either Trump or DeSantis should beat Biden, just because. I mean, if in 2020 Trump had the entire media against him, he had a global pandemic, he had a horrible first debate showing. His second debate was pretty good, but he had a horrible first debate showing. He had mail-in ballots, and who knows what happened with all that. And he only lost by 43,000 votes in 3 states. I think that says a lot about how strong Trump is as a candidate. And I would prefer Trump anyways, in terms of it, just because he is anti-establishment. I'd vote for DeSantis, but I think people really underestimate Trump in terms of his electability as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only thing wrong I see with DeSantis is that a lot of people on the establishment right are endorsing him, which is very concerning.
Meghan McCain is endorsing him.
Yeah, and when you have that type of deep down, they're controlled opposition. Or not controlled opposition, that's not the better word. Or if they would be. Because I think Ron would be a good politician because he understands the system a lot better than Trump did. That's how he's able to get a lot done in Florida. But I don't think he would be a very charismatic president. He would get a lot of enthusiasm, but he could probably get a lot of policy done, is what I think, with the strength of DeSantis versus Trump.
Yeah.
But I think Trump has that more populist appeal where he can get the masses to support him and turn out. But I think that's a good segue to get into our closing for today. I think it was a great discussion we all had about Australia and the politics in Afghanistan. And I will link your guys' channels in the chat. For anyone still watching, go ahead and subscribe both to Buckeye Politics and Entepp.
Yeah.
And
Politics channel.
EnteppPolitics. And you guys have any final closing statements?
No, I think that it was fun talking to you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm not sure how many viewers we had. I didn't really check, but I hope you guys enjoyed our takes.
Enjoyed our hot takes about the based dad mowing the lawn. And if you enjoyed those takes, hit that like
Oh,
button,
yeah.
subscribe. I'm American Populist. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.